I'm an addict. My name's Brian. Listen, I'm already, I started sweating as soon as they said your girlfriend's going to introduce you. That's a sweating moment. What's nice is, you ever been in a relationship where, like, you knew they weren't asking your partner to introduce you? You know what I mean? Like, that was not, like, I've been in relationships where my partner was not going to introduce me to do no meetings. So I'm super grateful. I'm thankful. First, I want to thank the committee, specifically William S. from Camden. I know we got Minneapolis and Virginia and all the things, but we know William S. from Camden, New Jersey. So, So, William, man, I love you wherever you went. There you are. I appreciate you, man. You've been just a guiding light in my life since I've known you. When we met in West Palm Beach convention many moons ago, I'll never forget it. I never forgot listening to you and just, you're a great friend, bro, and I appreciate you, and I know you're a great asset to this community. So, and anytime anybody asks me to, I feel honored when anytime somebody wants to talk to me on the phone, that's an honor. It's an honor when anybody wants to go to the diner with me, or seeks any kind of thoughts about what my thoughts might be about something, because the place that we come from is nobody was seeking my experience, strength, and hope prior to coming to Narcotics Anonymous. Nobody was interested in anything about me, what I had to say, or anything. So as quickly as I could get removed out of a room was the better for you. So it's a miracle, man, to be not necessarily, not up here, like this is cool for the weekend and all, but I'm talking about just like in daily living, when people call your phone and they value you, right? And I know that probably most of y'all in this room hold value in somebody else's life, and that is through the program and the principles of Narcotics Anonymous. So I'm grateful for the program. And I'm not going to give you, I can't give you a long, drawn-out war story about using drugs. It went like this. I'm from Philadelphia. I moved to Seattle 2 years ago, and that's been rough, just in every way imaginable, except this woman has to be so great, because I was like never leaving Philadelphia, ever. I love cheesesteaks, the Philadelphia Eagles, cream cheese. I love anything that has to do with Philadelphia. I'm about that life. And I was like, I'm not going to. I would get mad when I had to drive. I'm all the way. So for me to leave and move 3,000 miles away gives a testament to the character and the love I have for this woman right here. Right? So I'm born and raised there and used drugs. And here, this active addiction was like this. Active addiction sucked. It wasn't like, I don't have, like, some of y'all got great active addiction stories. Some of y'all were like real big drug dealers and pulling off crazy licks and all kinds of stuff. Like, I was like the first time I committed a crime, I was 11 and I got locked up. First time. I got locked up, went to see a judge, got put on probation. And I like rarely got away. I'm the worst liar. There's just nothing smooth about me in that way. So like I didn't even try to get away with stuff. So I started using drugs when I was 11 years old, and by the time I was like 13, I had a perk habit. By the time I was 15, I had a dope habit. By the time I was 16, I was on the run. I had 2 felonies, 2 seizures, and a stroke, right? And then a judge, not me, a judge thought it would be a good idea if I went to a treatment center. And I remember it was October 19th, 1993, and I had been, on the run because, you can't use drugs and report to the PO. So I had been on the run, and and I had left like my house in the summertime, and I was on like this 3-month run, living in these projects with a couple friends of mine, and I had this I was just a mess, and we just like stuck up this corner down Ogontz Avenue in the city, in which, by the way, I didn't have a gun. Because I was so unstable to the unstable people I moved around with that they were like, you can't give Mac a gun because he's liable to shoot one of us or himself. So like what I had was like one of those, you remember the 9mm? Or not the BB guns with the orange tips that looked like 9mm, right? So they gave me one of them. And so I had this, and so I got like a Sharpie and like crossed out oh, you did that slide? Crossed out the orange to make it look like it was official, and so like, and they did the same thing with this other girl who was crazier than all of us, this girl named Sue. And so Sue had the BB gun, I had the BB gun, we go through, we get back to the projects, the next thing we do all the drugs. This is October 19th, 1993. And all I remember was Sue standing in front of me, looking at me, and she's like pointing at my lip. And I'm like, things ain't moving right. And I go like this, and my whole hand is full of blood because Sue had shot me in the lip with a BB gun. Now I got there's a hole in the lip, like I'll show you after the meeting, right? And so if that wasn't enough, the disease is like, disease of addiction is nasty and insidious and everything terrible, but it's almost like comedic in a way, because it like said to me, this will be a good time for you to go home, right? like now, like just go home, go to school tomorrow. Like I ain't been to school since like 8th grade. I'm on probation, I'm on the run. Right, like, I got a habit, but it's just like, go home, and then we'll go to school tomorrow, and just get all this behind you. You know what I'm saying? So I go home, my mom ain't seen me since September, or since the summertime, and I walk in, and I can't imagine, like, what it must have been like for her as a mother to see her son, who she hadn't known where he's been at for all this time, with a BB stuck, with a bloody, my haircut was like, I had like, remember I had like, must have been, you could go down Kensington Avenue and get a haircut at the time for $5. And that was too much, right? Because all my money was accounted for. So I would give myself haircuts with like the oldest clippers on the planet. You know them old clippers, when you put them on, they're making the crazy noise, and you keep trying to turn the screw in them to get rid of the, like the screw had fell out. It was like, so I had like a patch of hair right here and a patch of hair over here because I had this problem with drugs that would make me go like this. So I'll be trying to cut my hair and do one of these, just wake up 20 minutes later. So I had, so check it out. So it's like, I'm a patch here, and a patch here, and a busted BB lip, right? Dope habit. And what I didn't know was what I was suffering from, I was having a stroke. So half my body, like my face is slumped. And so what must that have been like for my mother? And so, she just invited me in. She invited me in. She said, go upstairs. I'll make you a plate to eat. She shut the door. I'm in the room like, man, this is going to work out. It's all good. And so I don't know how much time went by, but some time went by, and all I heard was, like, not the mom, your sandwich is ready knock. You know what I mean? It was like, they said, open up, whatever. And it like dawned on me, like, man, this mother, she called the cops. She set me up. Making the sandwich alive. There's no sandwich. So I I used to tell the story. It's funny how like you stay clean and nothing changes, but everything changes because you start to get the ability to, as your condition grows spiritually, you become more okay with your own story. Exactly the way it is. I used to tell the story like the cops busted the door down and I was giving them hands and I was having a stroke, right? They didn't bust no doors down, but what did, before they come in, I'm on the second floor and I got the window behind me and in my mind, I'm gonna run and jump through the window to escape the cops. We talk about in the basic text how we, was it the most outrageous nonsense we justify? We got the craziest plans on how things are going to go. And we arrange them like it's like a Robert De Niro heist movie. We got architectural plans on the table, and I know how it's going to go. And then the problem is the movie, it usually goes that way. But in our lives, it never goes that way. So the movie just sucks, right? So I had these architectural plans about I'm about to bust through the glass window. I'm going to hit the ground, and so what really happened is they just opened the door. I turned around to run and jump through the glass. I weigh 110 pounds. I'm having a stroke, and I'm on dope. So there was no way I was getting through that glass. If the cops must have just looked, they must have opened the door and just stood there and looked at me. And I just went up, hit the glass, fell on the ground, right? I used to say, they came in and they shackled me with the shackles, the hands and the ankles. There was no shackling necessary to get me into the car, right? Because I wasn't going to the police station, I was going to the hospital. And I went to the hospital, man, and they put me in front of this doctor, and I remember the doctor says, listen, I don't know you. I don't know you. He's like, but you're 16, you're about to be 17 years old, and after doing like a workup, your body is not going to, you are not physically going to make it another 6 months if you keep using drugs this way. And so my response was, what are you, a doctor or something? In my mind, right? Because, okay, what do you know? I know people use, like the stuff, like I just ignore all evidence to the contrary because denial of our illness is that powerful where there's nothing that can be presented to me, right? Like I ain't ready till I'm ready. We could be prayed over, threatened, beaten, all that, it don't matter. It ain't until God has put something in my spirit, right? So, fortunately, a power greater than me called a judge had already told me that if he saw me again, he was going to put me away until I was 21, and I was 16. Juvenile life, they called it back then. And so instead, what they put me is in one of these things called it was a long-term therapeutic community. They had these things, right? Like it was like like you could be in there forever, pretty much, right? So it was a 6-month program. I did 14 months because some are sicker than others, and I'm some. So I just couldn't and wouldn't. Like part of the program there was fake it till you make it. Just act as if you want to get like this. My peers would tell me in the drill, they'd just say, "Yo, just act, man. You just gotta act like you want to get better. Just learn the words, read the basic text, and just say you want to get clean and stay clean, and you'll get out of here." But I was so enraged and angry, and I had so much going on in me that I couldn't even front. The front game was over. Yeah, right. Listen, because when you get clean, because the drugs serve a purpose until they don't, right? Remember when the drugs served the purpose when they allowed you to forget about all the stuff, right? But then all they did was remind you of the stuff. They start doing the opposite. Like all of a sudden, the large promise that the drugs gave me in the beginning become a poor performance every time I use them, right when they stopped working. When they stopped working, and I thought if I had to double and triple up in order to make it work so I could get back to that first time, and I just never got back there. And the more I used, the more I got reminded on the thing that I was trying to get away from. You know, so I'm sitting in this treatment center, and I'm reminded about and all this stuff because I use drugs, and I know you use drugs too. You just might not know yet. I mean, I know some of us y'all do. I use drugs in order to prevent myself from experiencing emotional upheaval in any capacity. If it's not a party, I don't want no part of it. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy myself. I don't want no, me and my girlfriend Darcy often have to have courageous conversations. You need some step work to have some of these courageous conversations, because sometimes you be in the midst of a courageous conversation and I be thinking like, yo, I've been in relationships in my past where you want to have a courageous conversation, I'm like this, you know what, it's too much. This was a good run, it's over. Just because I didn't know how to stand up like a man, right, and be vulnerable. Vulnerable means like being able to be and put myself in a position where it's possible that I will get hurt. I didn't know how to handle hurt. So I couldn't do that. So I'm in this treatment center and the drugs go and I get a tidal wave of emotions that I haven't experienced since I was this big. Because check it out, when I was this big, I had things happening to me that I knew I had to protect myself from. Right? Like, you remember what it's like? Some of y'all might know what it's like when you're growing up in a home and you have to have your head on a swivel because you know the violence is on its way. It's not if, it's when. And if you don't pay attention, even when you do pay attention, you know it's coming. But it's better to know when it's coming rather than get hit with it by surprise. Right? So I knew it was coming even when I was this big, but I would protect myself. And then when I got old enough, around 11, 12 years old, and made the decision, ain't nobody ever, never, ever gonna hurt me like that again. And I thought in my mind it was physical, but I didn't know I had a broken heart from the time I was 5, 6 years old. So really what I was suffering from the time I was this big was a broken heart. And I spent the rest of my life trying to protect myself from having you break this ever again. And drugs was a great campaign to ice that thing up. But what happens when the drugs go, that thing starts to thaw out. With or without my permission. It's going down. Check it out. If you on drugs and you stop taking drugs, you gonna soften up. And you might not like it, but it's gonna happen. I don't know if anybody can identify with getting clean and being so angry that you would just start crying. You remember, I would be so enraged that I would start crying. And now before, when I'd be enraged, I would break something. Someone's getting broken, I was punching somebody. You know, and listen, I ain't no tough guy. I tell people, listen, I used to just walk around punching people in the face. That's true. But like, if there was a number on the fight game for me, I'm like 2-90. I got my ass beat on a regular basis. I would punch people in the face that I knew were going to beat my ass. I didn't care about the ass whooping, right? Because the rage inside needed an out. But when I got clean and that my heart started to unthaw, I didn't have the necessary tools in order to handle what was happening to me on the inside. Yo, I was like, so we talk about how our message is that how an addict, any addict, can stop using drugs, lose a desire to use, and find a new way to live. And so, but that's a vicious spot to be in when you stop using drugs, but you ain't lost a desire to use yet. Like when you stop, but you still want to go, that's a problem. For me, I was like, yo, I'm not using, but I gotta use. I'm not using, but I know I'm going back, man. Because I'd always gone back. But you guys in here had said to me this. You said, listen, we don't care about how different you think you are, all the trauma, all of the stuff you got. We know, man. What we need you to do is show up. Y'all just said, show up. Make the meetings, man. And we guarantee that your life's going to change. Check it out. Your life is going to go. I'm talking to somebody in here, because look there's somebody here tonight that's suffering in silence. I ain't talking to all the people, like, your life's happy, joyous, and free, congratulations. But I want to make sure that the people who are suffering in silence know that all the rest of us that you see moving around this weekend, who look super excited, we know what it's like to be here and suffered in silence. Look, we know there ain't no coincidence that the title of the drawing this weekend is that we thrive together. Yes. Because what happened in my accident, I got clean, and I was sure that I was terminally unique in that brokenheartedness and the brokenness in me. You know, and so I was so sure that I was terminally unique and alone in that, and I didn't know, but y'all knew, and you fostered a community of addicts, and you applied things like the 12 traditions. See, I thought the 12 traditions were for like William and them, the service junkies. You know what I'm saying? All you convention people and H&I and public relations and all you acronym people, I call them, right? The RDs, the GSRs, the CRNs, whatever y'all be calling it. I don't even know what half this stuff means, right? That's what I thought traditions were for. Until I started paying attention and y'all started having me read stuff. Because there's a lot happens in the fellowship, but the program is in what happens with my sponsor. Yo, check it out. If you don't got a sponsor, right? Now I can share this is my experience. I'm not judging. I came in, I told you I went through this long-term treatment center. I got out, and I tried to, you ever try to like overcompensate in your recovery? You're like, I'm going to do these 3 things really good. Because this thing, I'm not doing it all. And I think if I do these 3 things really good, then it will make up for the thing I'm not doing at all. So the thing I wasn't doing at all was sponsorship. Because I was like, yo, F sponsorship. First off, I'm young. You know, I got out, I was 18, William, I came out. I went to this meeting down 15th in New York and North Philly. They were all a little older than me. They were wild. They were talking about smoking crack all day. I was on dope. This was in 1995, right? So you had dudes who were who had been clean like 6-7 years from like the 80s. And back then, it was like, at least in the inner city in Philadelphia, it was just really cool to talk about active addiction. Like these dudes just talked about all kinds of stuff, crawling on the carpet and peeking through the blinds and hearing the trains. And I'm like, I don't know what you old people are talking about, right? I know none about that. Y'all are tripping. But it was just the cool thing, right? But I continued to show up, right? And I continued to be a part of the group. And y'all said, listen, get a sponsor, right? And work the steps. And my sponsor started to redirect me to the literature. Because you will hear the best and worst things you've ever heard in NA. Check it out. You will be at a meeting next week, and you will hear somebody share this. I'm an addict. My name is Brian, and my active addiction got me, here. And then you will hear somebody else share, my active addiction got me into trouble. This is the stuff I would hear. Right? My active addiction got me here, and this guy was saying my active addiction got me into trouble. So I'd raise my hand, and I'd say, I got a question. Is here trouble? You know what I'm saying? Because this guy got 10 years, and this guy got 10 years, and he just said his active addiction got him into trouble, and he just said it got him here. So which one is it? You know what I'm saying? You hear the craziest stuff here, but the books give us what we need. Right? And then our responsibility is to come share, right? If you ever been to a meeting? I know none of y'all are like this because y'all are spiritual. But have you ever heard somebody at the meeting tell somebody else at the meeting, or you ever hear them say, that dude always quoting literature? I know none of y'all said that ever, because y'all are really nice out here in Minnesota. But in Philadelphia, they be on your ass, right? Oh, why is he always quoting the literature? And so I would be like, so I got clean with like a 9th grade education, and I came in and I didn't read shit. I never read nothing, and I didn't have no religious nothing. I had nothing. I'm telling you, I was like, that I was just a blank piece of paper when I walked in. Everything that's happening right here, if you don't like it, it's your fault, right? It ain't me. Ain't none of this original. So I came in as a blank piece of paper, and think about what we tell newcomers. Yo, newcomer, when you get in the door, we're going to buy you all these books. Now we got a lot of books. So the newcomers be walking out of the meeting like this, right? It's like they leave it going home from college with a library of books. And what do we tell them to do with the books? We don't say don't read them. We tell the newcomer, read the books. Yo, you know those pamphlets? They're all free. You should have every pamphlet. Get the books, get the pamphlets, read the literature, the programs of literature. We get a sponsor. Your sponsor's going to tell you to read the first step every day for 30 days. If you miss a day, start over, read, get a highlighter, highlight anything that jumps out at you, get a pen and underline it. If you don't know a word, get a dictionary to find it on the page. Read, this is what we tell people. And then when the newcomer, this is me because I'm a hater, naturally, not y'all. So when the newcomer, after really jammed it down his throat to do all this, and then the newcomer stops using drugs, loses the desire to use, and is in the midst of finding the new way, because that's a process, but they're in the midst. While they're in the midst of finding the new way, and then they're in the meeting, and they're like this. On page 79, in Recovery and Relapse, it says, this is a newcomer, in page 79 in Recovery and Relapse, it says that we have never seen a person relapse who lives in Narcotics Anonymous program. And back here earlier in the book, it says the program was founded in July of 1953. So if you a hater like me, I'm going to lean over to William and be like, this effer over here trying to quote literature, talk about the history of NA, this and that. But yo, I told him to read it.
Right.
Not that y'all would do that to the newcomer. So if you do, if you have friends that you see, you know what's worse than being in NA and quoting literature, even if you bullshit about it? You know what's worse? Shooting dope, smoking crack. What's worse is not being in the meeting. And we talk about how y'all told me to read it, so I read it. And it says, and listen, because this was hard work for me, because I forget that the number one purpose of the disease of addiction is to alienate me from you, because it knows that we thrive together, right? And so if it can alienate me from you and us from each other, then it wins. And so what my job is in the third tradition, it talks about how that we learn to support members through any. Yo, I'm not that smart. So I had to look up words like any, because I thought I knew what it meant. What does the word any mean? I would tell my sponsor, I know what any means. So I looked it up. So any means, check it out, hold on. It is whenever, whatever, however, no matter which way, every, all. There's every and all and whatever and whichever, whatever difficulty you can imagine somebody else going through. Our job is to support them while they go through it. Because if you smart ass like me, I want to know why. Besides the fact that for the cute we thrive together, right? Because I could just say it, y'all would clap, right? But the tradition before, 2 traditions earlier than 3, in one, it goes like this. And now I'm kind of self-centered. So I imagine this stuff be talking to me sometimes. And so that first tradition says, yo, Brian, your personal recovery, our common welfare comes first. And Brian, your personal recovery, what does that mean? Brian, your clean date is March 28th, 1994. I got 32 years and 13 days today. Your clean date is contingent upon you supporting members through any difficulty they go through. So that means, so I'm like, wait, so if I'm outside and me and Tim are bull-ishing about stuff and we just sitting back because, you know, we all super clean now, right? And I'm looking at the picture, yo, he was cheating. This dude's stealing off the job. This one, he don't do no step work. This one goes to 13 fellowships. This one's on drug replacement. I'm going to take about 90 seconds to talk about drug replacement. Because, you know, we at the convention, y'all asked me to share it, right? This is all I'm going to say. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using any addict. If you want to have a conversation with me on about how NA defines abstinence, I'll talk to you after the meeting about it. But as far as membership is concerned, listen, some of y'all know, you remember Lester? So Lester was this dude in North Philly. He was this big. Lester looked like he'd lived on the streets for 130 years, right? Lester never got clean. Lester was drunk every meeting, man. Lester would come in the meeting and be like this, you got a cigarette? Just like he wasn't nice about it, you would say, Lester, beat it, bro, I ain't got no cigarettes. Then he'd curse you out. He might give you a hard bump, right? Dude, drunk. He would sit in the front of the meeting, rolling around, back and forth, with his hand raised. And then every once in a while, you would get somebody who would call on the guy, right? And then I'd be in the meeting like, you gonna call on Lester? Lester's drunk, right? Like, we've been drunk for 30 years. Any addict, man. Lester, because we didn't, now I wish I could tell you there was a good ending, Lester got clean. Lester never got clean. Lester died during COVID, right? But I'm telling you, Lester got a legacy in NA, in North Philly, and had impacts like Kenny Ali, Brian Kay, Anna Marie, we all know we would put Lester in the car, we would take him to the diner. Lester was a part of our community. We loved Lester. Lester was drunk, annoying. He was like the drunk uncle that you didn't want at the party. He was that guy. But he was our drunk uncle, right? So like, we can clown him, but you better leave him alone. You know, so that's what we're talking about. But my personal recovery depended upon me being connected with Lester. And I didn't understand that, man, until I started, because by myself, I'm nothing. You ever try to look, the disease of addiction is so wild that we will spend all of our time trying to talk out of ourselves out of a situation that we talked ourselves into. Like, I can't get my way out of a bag that I'm so wild, right? And denial of the disease of addiction is so deep on me, and my first step says, I will never see myself coming on my own. I'm perfectly incapable. You know what I've never seen in person without the assistance of an object or you? The middle of my back. I will never see the middle of my back. It's just an impossibility. If I want to know what's happening behind me, I need somebody I trust standing here to be able to tell me what's going on. Like, what would it look like going to buy a car without walking around the whole thing? Like, I wouldn't go outside. If I had a car sitting right here and I was looking at this side of the car, I only get to see the driver's side, right? I'm not going to buy the car only looking at this piece. I got to go to the other side of the car. Or I got to have you on the other side of the car telling me, yo, the other side of the car. I'm not objective on my life. I need people. And that happens, y'all, through me being connected through the 12 traditions. But I like this part about the 12 traditions, which is going to lead us into this other thing. I should have brought my books, but I didn't, you know. Well, I'm just going to butcher the quote. Y'all can beat me up after the meeting. In the beginning of our Guiding Principles book, it says, we can't work the 12 traditions without having worked the 12 steps. There is no tradition work, which means there is no me getting out of the way and connecting to you correctly if I'm not doing step work. Because step work says, Brian, the synopsis of the 12 steps have been this. Yo, every time you try to control, you end up unmanageable. Whatever the control is. Every time you try to control drug use, unmanageable. Every time you try to control Darcy T, that's really no good. You know, I be trying this sometimes because I think I'm going to get away with it. Darcy T dictates Tim what time we going to sleep. And I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? But I be trying to control it. It ain't never going down, William. You know, last night we came in on a plane. I'm like, it's time to go to bed. She's like, no, it isn't. I was like, all right, I've been up since 4 in the morning, but if you say so. Every time I try to control something, I become more unmanageable. And as I go through the 12 steps, the core of the illness that we suffer from it dissipates. The core of our illness is self-centeredness. So the core of my illness, it just starts to go away, man. And I start getting connected in the 12th step. It says, having had a spiritual awakening, that was new to me. So I was like, wait a minute. If it took to the 12th step for me to have a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, that meant prior to these steps, my spirit was unconscious. And what do people look like moving around with an unconscious spirit? What do you look like, Brian, when you're moving around unconscious spiritually? What do you look like expecting people who haven't had a spiritual awakening to act like they're awake? You ever try to talk to somebody? Anybody got anybody in their lives who just got a few defects of character that they can't or won't shake because they won't do the work required to shake them, and you keep getting more mad at them because they keep acting in ways, but the problem isn't that they can't shake it. The problem is I keep expecting somebody who's asleep to be awake. You know, so by the time I get to that 12th tradition or 12th step, my spirit starts to wake up. And then I start really feeling myself. You know, now all of a sudden, like, you know, I remember when I did the 12th step, I had, you know, going through the 12 steps, I had 15 years clean. At the time, I was married, had a little crib, things were moving along. I had to, you know, in the fellowship we talk about, you know, social acceptability doesn't equal recovery. And I thought that meant money, property, and prestige. But you know what that means? This shit. That means, like, if you accept me, like if I'm socially accepted in Minnesota, that ain't going to equate to me being recovering. Just because you have a good thought or opinions or you like me, that means I'm getting better. No, B, the work's required. You got to go in order to get better. Right? So I'd gone in and everything was cool, and then the next thing you know, 16, 17, 18 years, because I think that I could just relax. I forget the amount of work it takes to get a period of freedom. I forget that it was the work that got me free. So then when I get free, I'm in a place where I've never had freedom before, and I have a life that's just this perfect life now. And I don't want to do anything to disrupt the perfect life, and even doing things that are good for me might change this box I got, so I don't want to do nothing. I just want to keep the box. That means that I got these people in my life, nobody else can come in or out, because I will disrupt the box. I make this meeting, I got this service commitment, I got these sponsees only, no more newcomers. I've been clean too long now, let somebody else sponsor them. Right? It's the stuff I say to myself. No, I only sponsor people with 20 years now. Because I need this box. And all of a sudden I become complacent. And I'm not paying attention to how in the Living Clean book it goes, check it out, it goes, it is possible, this is dangerous. Yo, we got a friend of ours, and he knows I talk about it because it was one of the most powerful statements I feel like I've ever heard since I've been clean. My man Donald M. back in Philly, he goes, he had 28 years clean and used drugs. So he knows that there ain't no safe amount of clean time. 28 years, and I watched it. So, I remember when it happened, and then when he says it, and I read the stuff in the book now, and it goes, yo, B, it is possible to lull ourselves to sleep on this program. That's dangerous enough. It's dangerous enough to be asleep in the program and think you're good. You ever fell asleep in the program? Spiritually? I did. You know what I lost? A wife, a house, a business, bank accounts, good credit. Like it all went. Right? The only thing that grace was, I was fortunate enough through grace to hold on to was y'all and a clean date to survive it. Right? That happened as a result of me not only lulling myself back to sleep in the program because the disease is progressive. So it's not like I'm getting clean and I just stop recovering, because the disease is progressive in nature. So the same step work I did in 1995 ain't no good in 2026. Because I got progressive illness. That thing playing games with me differently in 2026 than it was in 96. And I need now step work. Right? Because if I'm not doing now step work, then I'm being lulled back to sleep. But the next part of the line is the dangerous part. It says it is possible to lull ourselves back to sleep in this program and think we are still awake. So I'm moving around in my life like it's all good. And to you, it looks all good too. You know, you got a job, got a couple dollars, got marriage, you know, whatever. But when my spirit's asleep, the disease is active. You know, but I want to tell you about how good God is. Because sometimes things are happening in our lives. Sometimes, you ever try to hold on to something that God has been screaming at you to let go of? You ever been in situations and scenarios, whether it's with a partner or at a job or maybe in a friendship or something like that, where you way past the expiration date, right? But you've lulled yourself to sleep, right? So now what's happened is that everybody's just bouncing harm off each other. You know, God is, and when I say God, if you don't believe in God, this ain't a religious program. I'm just telling you I do. And I'm telling you I didn't believe before I got here, but I went through the 12 steps and found out I came to believe, right? Because I'm just an NA guy, right? So I believe that God in my life was so good that God will resurrect, or He will put together scenarios in my life. When I'm not paying attention, God will be like this. All right, man, you don't want to do this the easy way. I feel you. We gonna do it the hard way then. And it's going now. It was gonna be painful originally, but now it's really gonna be painful. You know, so I found myself with, I don't know, some years, 4 years, something like that ago, 3, whatever the number is. Broke up. Me and my ex split up, and I went back to my mom's house, right? So now I'm like, and it wasn't because I didn't have any money, it was because that's where you go at 5 in the morning when you got all your shit in your car, and if you don't get out of there, the cops are coming, right? So it's like, you gotta go somewhere, so I was going to mom's. And so I go to mom's house, and I ain't lived at home since I was 18. So you already know the disease is active. Bum, loser, driving home 5 in the morning, going to your mom's crib, ain't living at home. You got money and you still have to go to your mom's crib. You know, like this kind of stuff, right? You know, you leave, you know, you's a sucker. You pay all the bills over there. You leaving? You know, and you know, but God's like, yo, yeah, you're leaving. Because I told you that we could have handled this in a different way 3 years ago. But you ignored me, man. So we gonna have to do it this way now. You go to your mom's crib in the bed that's this wide, right? You had the king size bed with the extra comforter and all that. It's gone now. Now you got the jail bed, right? At your mom's house. And I go back to mom. Mom invites me in because mom knew that thing I should have left 3 years. Yo, it's good when you got a mom. Listen, I don't know what kind of parent. A lot of people just don't have great parents. And I had one of those parents who wasn't, but I had one that was. My mother was my sponsor, my angel, my everything. She was my best friend. She believed in me more than any of y'all did. I mean, listen, I'm like, some of y'all know me. I'm like this crazy entrepreneurial-ish type guy. I got 1,000 ideas. 999 of them are bad. You know what I'm saying? Joseph, am I right? You know, like most of them are she would be campaigning for all of them. You know, she was just my best friend, man. And I hadn't lived there since I was 18, but, you know, but God was like, yo, I'm bringing you home. And I didn't know I was going home. And so I'm at home, and then 2 weeks later, my business partner, 14 years, she calls me and she's like, listen, I just got this opportunity that I can't turn down, and it made sense, but also my whole business got turned upside down. So I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, this is some bullshit. I just had like what I felt like was a really good life run, and now all of a sudden I'm sleeping in a twin bed, you know, living at my mom's house. Now my business is gone. This is crazy. And then 2 weeks after that, my mom got diagnosed with a terminal illness.
Come on, big man.
Love you, big.
But you know, the program is so good because in the moment, I knew that God had me right where I was supposed to be. Like there was no way I was ever moving back to mom's house. It was just, you know, it's crazy. I'm a grown-ass man with some money. I can move back to my mom's. There's no way it was going down. But just everything got arranged without my permission and put me right there, you know, to take care of her the last 9 months of her life. And I was like, you know, in the midst of going through that, you know, I left the ex, and then, you know, what's the best way to, you know, get over somebody? Y'all know. Y'all ain't saying it because you're spiritual, you know what I'm saying? But you know. You know, so my mind, you know, when you like in a situation you don't want to be in, and you think about like when you get out of this situation, that you gonna be out here. At least not all of the men, but some of y'all. Like, you know, we gonna be all the way outside if I'm single. Right? I'm going to go down, go get the condo, and, you know, I'm going to be balling. Out of control, 800 women, you know, so in my mind, you just create this crazy thing. What happened was, I was living in my mom's house in a twin bed. And so my sponsor, my old sponsor, his name's Kurt, and the woman that did my intake and treatment 32 years and 13 days ago, Rashida, they said to me, you know, we know you're a sick animal. Because this is how they talk to me still. Because they know. They said, we know you're a sick animal. So why don't you sit your ass down for 90 days. Give yourself 90 days and sit down. Don't get into nothing. And I knew what that meant. So I sat down for 90 days. And I prayed and I wrote and, you know, I went to, like whatever you could do to get better. I was, like, you know when you knew and you on fire and you hungry and you want a new life and you don't see the new life on the horizons, but you believe other people had and have gotten a new life, so you're like, I'm just going to overdose on the stuff, on the good stuff to try to get to the horizon. And I was like, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how long I'm going to be living with my mom, or how long I'm going to have to take care of her, or if I'm ever going to get better with it. I don't know about any of that. But what I do know is that the program, that says in the second sentence, our higher, the same power that drug us out of the gutter is still with us and will guide us if we allow it. So I tapped back in, man. I tapped back in. I went to meetings every day. I took commitments, and not just these commitments. I'll go to every meeting I went to. I got there an hour early. I'm setting chairs up. I'm going out to the diners. I'm putting crazy newcomers in the car. You remember the good days, man? Like when you don't have nothing to do except grab a couple sick, crazy newcomers, breathe some life into them. Like, shut up, man. Just order the cheeseburger. You know what I'm saying? Nut. Just, get some fries, whatever you want. Like some of the, I remember I had this one newcomer, we told him the diner, newcomers are there a little crazy. We took this one newcomer to the diner. I said, listen, just get whatever you want. And I remember when I would do this, and I was a little bashful, I'd be like, let me get a grilled cheese or whatever. Y'all are crazy today. I was at the diner, Kenny, this newcomer was like this. Yeah, I'll take the lobster. I was like, yo, bro. Fucking lobster, man. Chill out. People are... But listen, I was doing all the stuff, man. I was at the diners. I was going in, man. And you know what? It took about, I'm going to say like 35 to 40 days. And my heart was healed. In 40, God works like this, man. When you focused and when you on your job. I was like, I'm not, and I'm like, I'm going to stay single 41 days, 42 days, 50 days come, and then the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. They lost, but we was hype anyway, right? Because 50, 60 days goes by, and I'm grooving. I'm doing step work. I wrote a fourth and then fifth step with my sponsor, Jimmy. And, I'm going to meetings in all this, Jersey, New York, Baltimore. I'm everywhere. I'm, just doing the work, 60 days, 70 days, it's going on 90 days. And now I'm like, this is why we tell the newcomer, do it 90 and 90. And if your life hasn't been changed, then your misery will gladly be refunded. Just give us 90, y'all. If you suffering in silence here tonight, and your life can't change, we're asking you to give us, in Narcotics Anonymous, 90 days. Don't ask, no, you can ask all the questions, just do what we're telling you to do. You can ask all the questions you want in the interim, but just do what we're telling you to do. And I would be remiss, I'm going to finish the story, but I'd be remiss not to tell you what the do is. Sponsor, home group, step work, prayer, service. Yeah. Do the 5 and you locked in. Yeah. 90 days. So I did the 90 days, man. And 90 days was good. So that I did, and I was like, you know what? So in my mind, when you knew, and we tell you stay out of a relationship in the first year, and then you get the year, and then you think you're ready, right? I don't know, you might have been ready. Who knows? No, you ain't never ready. You know what I'm saying? So just handle your business. Don't use drugs. Stay in the middle of the boat. I don't care. These sick motherfuckers by other people telling other people not to be in relationships. They're the most unhealthiest relationship you've ever seen, right? I don't know when you should or should. I don't know nothing. I know don't use drugs. Get to the meeting. I don't know about nothing else, right? Unless I sponsor you, we might have some other conversations. But for y'all, right, just don't use drugs and get to the meeting. Right. So even at the end of 90 days, my life was better. And I wasn't like, no, I'm going to get in a relationship now, because I was like, I'm spiritually more fit than I felt I'd ever been. But I was just moving 100 days, all good. And then, they had asked me to come out to do this convention in the Pacific Northwest. So I fly out to Washington State to go to Ocean Shores, Washington, which, by the way, y'all, is as far away from Philadelphia as you can get in the continental United States. Maybe like an hour, like at 2 hours above where I'm at is Canada, right? So like this is as far away as you can get from where I'm at. And in my mind, I'm going to go to the convention, do the convention, and I got stuff I'm doing back in Philly, right? I got plans. I'm making moves. I'm looking at apartments. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, my mom's still kind of like in the end stages of life, and I'm going through this. And so I get off the plane, and Darcy T is sitting there in the airport with a sign like this, with my name on it, right? Now, they got a whole committee of people that be meeting at the airport, but I had to come in early the way the flights work, so it's just Darcy T at the airport like this, looking at me with the eyes. No, not those eyes. Just her glowing self. Yeah. And I'm telling you, I was like this. Yeah. I'm fucked up, man. I mean, I'm in trouble. And I was like, but I was sure, I was like, how am I going to be in trouble in Seattle, Washington? Because I live in Philadelphia, and I love the Eagles, and I love the Phillies and the Sixers and the Flyers and cream cheese and cheesesteaks and hoagies and talking shit and Rocky, and I ain't never leaving, man. Row homes and, you know, bad attitudes. I'm like, this is where I'm from. I moved to Pacific Northwest. They like burn hemp and like passive aggressive ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't never gonna work for me. You know, all my mind, like all this happened while she's holding the sign. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing like, you know how we get down, like, you know. And so we went back, you know, because I was sleeping on the couch. And I woke up the next morning and she came downstairs and asked me if I was willing to pray with her. And so that was just something that I had never really, that was new for me. You know, to have somebody, and I think about, when am I most vulnerable? Is it when I'm talking to my sponsor? Is it when I'm doing step work? Is it when I'm sharing in the meeting? Is it when I'm talking to God by myself and none of y'all are there? There's nobody to judge it. It's just this thing that's happening between me and God. And for me, it feels like that is the most vulnerable state that a human being can be in. And so to invite somebody else into that state requires a maturity and a level of reliance that I hadn't had before. So, you know, when she asked me to pray, I was like, man, I don't know about all that, man. In my mind. But I did it because I didn't want to look crazy and not do it. And, you know, so the next thing you know, I was an MVP gold status flying to Seattle every week as dude. From Phil, every other week for the next year, I'm going like this. Philly, because I work for myself, I can work remote. Philly, Seattle, Philly, Seattle, Philly, Seattle. And we built a relationship. Now I wish I could, like, that thing sounds spiritual, what I just told you, and it is. And we have tough conversations, courageous ones. But we be in the shit too. I'm not trying to make this sound like, you know, like we're the most spiritual people on the planet. Well, Darcy's super spiritual, you know. I'm a lot to deal with. I'm immature. I have this thing that when my mom, my last step work, I got connected. See, step work connects dots that I didn't even know existed. No. I didn't even know the dots were here. For years. So I heard this woman, Roz G, I said earlier, this woman, Roz G, said a long time ago, she said, I can only be as honest as I can. My ability, my level of honesty is contingent upon my spiritual condition. The more conditioned I am spiritually, the more capable of being honest with you I am. You know, so it just took what it took for me to be able to get to the most recent. This is why step work from 96 ain't no good. I need now step work to connect me with stuff like this. because my mom passed, right? And then so you could, no, I'm sure you can never say nothing bad about this lady, right? And I'm doing step work, talking to my sponsor, and he's talking about like, you know, we got to talk about the resentments against your mother. I'm like, yo, Jimmy, calm down, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I know you the good speaking ass, Jimmy T and all that, but I'll slide off on you down the beach right now. Don't be, like, really, don't be talking about my mom. You know? And he's like, your dad used to beat you up with baseball bats and beat your mom with irons. And you had to grow up watching all this. And then when you were 11, even though you were wild, your mom kicked you out and sent you to live with your dad. And you knew, and she knew, that your dad was going to put you back in the hospital. He's like, and you don't think there's any resentment happening there? And so when he said it, as we're going through the writing, I'm thinking about all the stuff I would do in reference to my mother, and then how I drug all that betrayal and abandonment into every relationship that I ever walked into. And now how here I am now, 48 years old, grown man, 30 whatever years, all the 12 steps, all the stuff. I'm in a relationship, and all you gotta say, you don't even gotta say stuff. Sometimes you could just give a look, right? It could just be like, you didn't answer me fast enough, right? And something happens in me, and I used to say that triggers me back into the little boy down here, and I start feeling like the 9-year-old who is getting beaten, betrayed, but it doesn't. I don't turn into the 9-year-old, I turn into like the 14-year-old who don't give a F about nothing. I turn into the 14-year-old who was the first one to be able to protect the 9-year-old. So now I'm in a relationship with somebody who absolutely loves me, right? And I'm in a 14-year-old stance because I'm convinced that you are going to abandon and betray me. You know, so this kind of stuff is, I'm talking about right now. So what I do in order to overcompensate for all this is what I'll do when we're faced with scenarios that I think are going to get us into a tussle about this. My first instinctual move is to lie about whatever's happening. Just whatever I got to say that will reduce this situation as fast as possible so we can move on and just have fun, right? But what I found out through courageous conversation from Darcy T is that the lie is more offensive than the thing you're fucking lying about, B. Like it ain't like, yo, if you just was told the truth, yeah, we would have had to have a little something, but we would have been moved on by now. We would have been in the middle of dinner, talking about what we're going to do this weekend, but now the next 2 weeks, it's going to be some shit. Because by the way, I'm not dealing with, and none of us are dealing with the perfectly constructed human beings. Because by the way, I'm dealing with somebody who got stuff. And my stuff can alert her stuff. Like, yo, by the way, you know what it's like to me when you start lying to me? What that reminds me of? And then she has her story about what that does to her. Right? So now you potentially in the spot where you got two people running around who are on fire. So my goal in the here and now today is to be aware of this stuff and to share it with you, right? And to bring it to the meeting and not be ashamed to tell y'all, yo, I'm a psychopath, right? I lose my temper, I snap off, I'll throw shit, I'll say the craziest stuff. I'm not the most, I'm not, your pastor, I'm not none of that, right? I'm the guy who's well aware of what's happened in my life because I bring it to the group, right? Because there's nothing about my life that you can't know. Because what I know is that together we thrive. Thanks for listening.